Hey everybody, I'm Todd and this is Sweet Tea Guitars. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel and welcome to a guitar giveaway. Alright you guys, we left off in the last video. I let you guys know kind of what I was thinking about this build that I'm about to do, and I'm going to give it away at the end of this series. I've had an overwhelming response to that video, you guys, helping me pick out a color. And I think I've pretty much decided which way I'm going to go, but I'm going to let it be a surprise. The first thing we need to do before we go forward on this build is to get these blanks glued up. So I've taken the time, run my body blanks, or my two body pieces. I'm making a two-piece body for this thing. I've run those across the jointer. We've got a nice clean joint. I've checked it with a straight edge. I've jointed the two inside glue up pieces of my maple for the neck right here, and I showed you guys this in the last video. Quarter sawn hard maple. This is jointed. I've got a perfect joint down the middle. It's perfect. One of the subscribers on the channel that commented suggested that I taper that centerpiece of Wingay. I was planning on doing that anyway, but I'm glad one of you guys reminded me of it because I've got so much stuff going on in the shop right now, I have a hard time keeping up with it sometimes. I've got the Wingay super glue and masking tape down to my table here. We're going to run across this thing a couple times with the hand plane. I've run it across the jointer already to make sure we're nice and flat, and I've got a taper on it already. I want to show you guys how I'm going to prep this, and then we're going to glue up this neck blank. I've got a number 4 plane. I've waxed the sole, and we're just going to take a few swipes across this thing. And I'm taking very, very small, tiny little shavings. Now I can ease off on my pressure, and I don't want to rock from one side to another and end up getting my board out of square. I'm going to take this 40 grit on this hard back sanding beam right here. Not too much downward pressure. Again, I don't want to roll it to one side or the other. I want to keep a nice flat surface. Even pressure front to back. And we should be good. The only reason I wanted to use that sanding beam is to make sure I get a nice scratch pattern for my glue joint. So let's peel this piece of Wingay up and I'll show you guys this taper. All right, so there we go. I'm thin on that end and I get wider down here. But I've got a nice clean board now. Let's put it in the middle of this maple and find out what kind of joint we got here. Yeah, we're real good. So this is our neck blank. And it's gently tapered. I didn't go too far. I would say probably 1/8 of an inch from that end to that end. But it's not tapered, you know, a huge amount. I want to glue this on that piece of granite that I used on the Unity build to glue up my top set. You guys may have seen me jerk that piece out before. Anyway, when I come back, we're going to put that piece of granite up here on the table. We're going to glue up this neck blank and get that sorted. We'll then move to the body and get it glued up. I want to get these blanks glued up so we can work on this thing while I've got downtime between the Strat and the Unity build. You guys seem to be into this, and I would hope you would be, considering one of you is going to win this guitar at the end of this thing. So stick around, I'll be back. All right, you guys, let's glue this blank up. I am excited about this build, and I want to get going on it. You guys have really got me psyched up for this thing, man. We're using Tech Bond wood glue. This is from St. Gobain, the same company that makes Norton abrasives, which is really high quality stuff. I got this on Amazon. This bottle was like $9 or something like that. Not super expensive. I'm just going to use my finger. I almost prefer to use my finger because you can feel dried glue or any kind of little chunks of anything or whatever. And I want it glued up exactly like it sits. I don't want to go overboard on my glue. You don't need much. You just need enough to cover the joint. But you also don't want to leave any voids. We want to rock this back and forth. Make sure we've got a nice joint happening. We'll do the same thing here. I'm going to get myself a couple of clamps on. We'll start at one end and go to the other. And I want to make sure I'm keeping good contact with the surface. We won't go overboard on the pressure yet. I'm getting squeeze out as we go here. As long as you're getting good squeeze out and you know your joint's good to start with, you shouldn't have any trouble with this. All right, so there we go. Now we can move and shift our attention to the body, which excites me. Same thing, I'll use my finger. Now, if you've got a good joint, you can do that rock back and forth, that rubbing back and forth that creates a vacuum in the joint, and you could almost glue it up with no clamps. All right, I'm using Bessie GK45 clamps. These are gear clamps, and these things are phenomenal. Bessie so graciously sent me 4 of these. I love these clamps because the pressure is being created straight off the foot. These have a swivel ball foot, so you can glue a little bit of an uneven surface. But the way they've got these designed, the pressure goes straight from the foot to the center point of this pad on the non-moving side. That makes certain that we get the pressure directly in the center of this board, so you don't build in any cupping one way or another. You don't create a convex or a concave shape. I've got an extra 4 or 5 millimeters on the thickness of this body blank right now that I can hand plane away and get this flat. I like to do that after the glue up. That assures me that I am perfectly flat when it comes time to glue the top on. So we're ready. I'm going to leave this sitting here overnight. When I come back down in the morning, we'll have a body blank ready to be prepped. Our neck blank will be ready to be prepped as well. We'll get the top set glued up. I'm already jointed. All we'll have to do is use this same piece of granite, glue our top set up just like we did the one for the Unity build. I'll talk for a minute about some of my plans upcoming on this same build. Then we'll wrap the video up. I'm only going to make this 15-20 minutes long, and we'll talk a little bit about the design, or some of the design aspects that I'm going to incorporate into this guitar, and just keep you guys posted, you know, where I'm headed on this guitar. I want you to be informed all the way through the build. That's why I'm going to do the short videos. If I can get one of those done every week, you guys can participate and kind of help guide me through this whole process. That's really what it is. I'll see you guys in the morning. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel, you guys. I really appreciate it. All right, you guys, we're back in the shop. Today is Saturday, February the 18th. We're about to glue the top set up for the giveaway build. I took a little while and ran across the front of this joint with the number 6 hand plane. I took my crimson fret leveling beam with some 180 grit sandpaper on it, and I flattened out this joint. It was really good with the plane, but the plane still wanted to chip out just a little along this edge. So what I did was made sure I had a nice flat surface first and made sure I had a good joint. Then I went back over it with the sandpaper to assure myself that I had a clean joint. So let's get this glued up. Just a small bead of glue. I switched out bottles, but it's the same glue. Okay. We'll do our slide. Now let's take our tape. This is thin, flexible masking tape right here. This is great for gluing these tops up like I do. Pinch it together, stretch the tape, and work our way from one end to the other. I have found using that leveling beam does a really great job if you're not a master at the hand plane, which I'm not. I can get a nice flat joint, but I can't seem to keep it from tearing out. And I've sharpened my blade. I've done everything I know to do. But the leveling beam takes care of any little issues I have like that. All right, there we go, you guys. One top glued up. And this has absolutely become my favorite method to glue up a top. I mean, I altered it a little this time by putting that board down the middle instead of using my deep reach clamps. But this is going to work out fine. Now I can just lift the whole granite piece off the table, let my top dry for a couple of hours. We'll be ready to glue that to the body blank. All right, you guys, so there's the neck blank. Now I need to do some work on it with the plane, but we're good to go. That's going to be an awesome neck too. I like it. We'll put that away for a moment though, because what I want to work on right now is getting this top flat so we can get our top set glued to this. So the plane's telling me that I've got a little cupping in the board itself, not in my joint. We're dead flat. That's awesome. I know we're flat at this point because I've checked it with the straight edge. We still have a little saw mark right up in this area, which tells me the board's slightly cupped. That's fine. We're going to sand this flat with some 80 grit sandpaper on a random orbit sander, and then I'll check it again with the straight edge. All right, that feels really good. We're gonna get this top glued to the body blank and we're gonna wrap this thing up. At this point, or once I get this top glued on, we're gonna be ready to start designing this guitar. When I come down here in the morning, we can actually start to draw out a shape on this body, lay out our center line, get some pickups marked out, decide what kind of bridge we wanna use, or I say pickups, pick up. We're going to clamp this top down to the body. I'll flip it over. We're going to drill some locator pins in this thing. All right, so just off on one corner. All right, I'm happy with that. We're good. We got squeeze out all the way around. All right, you guys, that's going to do it for me. Tomorrow when I get down here, we'll put the body over to the side. I'm going to work on the neck a little while. But what I really need to do tomorrow is get the Strat that I'm doing with Geo ready to have the final coats of clear sprayed onto it. And I also want to get the top set glued to the Unity build. Those two things aren't going to take me too long. I've already flat sanded the Strat body and the Unity build's ready to just have the top glued onto it. So we will have some time tomorrow to work some on this body. But I don't want to move any further tonight. I wanted to show you guys the blank glue ups, let you see what this top's going to look like on the body itself, let you see what the neck blank looks like while it's glued up. In the next video, we're going to start to design this thing. We'll draw some lines on this guitar, decide what kind of pickup we want to use, which bridge we're going to use, which tuners. which style fret wire. All those decisions are going to be made coming up here shortly. And we'll get closer to the video where I reveal to you guys what color I've decided to go with on this guitar. Don't forget to go follow my new Instagram account. It's Sweet Tea Guitars with a Z. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button here on the YouTube channel. Make sure you select the notification bell so you can stay up to date as to what I got going on in the shop, what's coming down the pipe in the future. You guys know how YouTube works. I'm trying to grow my channel. I need your help to do it. And in return, I'm going to give one of you guys a guitar. So please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next video. And as always, peace and love.